Whoop! Made a little bit of a mess, guys. Hey guys, this is Daniel from the Arms Family Homestead. I'm out in the shop today doing some work because it's just so dadgum windy outside today. It's hard to video out. So come in the shop, I'm gonna do a little bit of work. Got a few projects I need to get done, some catching up on some tool maintenance. So I'm gonna do a little bit of tool maintenance today. I've got one of my very most favorite tools that I've had. Gosh, I think I've had this thing for about 10 years. Now, it's not your everyday average gardening tool. I'll tell you what it is. It's called a council rake, okay? Let me zoom you out a little bit. This is a council rake. See those big aggressive teeth? Can you tell why I need to do a little maintenance on it? I was out doing a little work the other day and I busted a tooth off. So I'm gonna fix that tooth first and get this thing sharpened up, get it cleaned up, take care of the handle. This rake, like I said, I've had it for about probably 10 or 12 years. It's not, the council rake is not your, everyday garden rake or yard rake. It's not made for raking leaves out of your yard. I'm gonna get it cleaned up, get it sharpened up, and I'll show you later on in the video what I use this thing for. I've used it and abused it for a lot of years. It's got the original handle, original teeth, although I'm having to fix one today. But it's a great tool, so let me get this thing sharpened up and put back together, and I'll show you what I do with it. So by now, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the company and the YouTube channel called the Homestead Box. If not, it's a monthly subscription box, and you don't know what you're getting every month, but you pay, depending on which level of subscription you want. There's 2 different price levels. You get a surprise every month, and in the first month, they send us some tool maintenance tools and some tool maintenance tips. So I'm going to use the stuff I got from them to take care of this council rake, okay? So a couple things I'm using today: a big heavy duty file to sharpen, a Lansky puck to kind of knock the burrs off and put the finishing touches on that, on the teeth after I get this one put back on. I've got a sanding block to kind of sand my handle down, and some boiled linseed oil to treat that handle so it'll hold up and be a good handle for several more years. So the first thing I've got to do is get this tooth put back on here. Now these original factory teeth are held on with some big heavy duty rivets, and I don't have anything heavy duty enough, so I'm just going to be using some little nuts and bolts, putting 2 nuts on the back of the bolt, and hopefully it'll hold up for a long time. Broke my screwdriver. Can you believe that? I broke my screwdriver. Guess that's what I get for buying cheap tools. Well, I got my blade reattached. I got the tooth back on there. Now I got to get it sharpened up. So to do the main bit of sharpening, I'm going to be using this farmer's file. And one key thing, one important thing to remember when you're filing is to only go in one direction. You don't want to push and pull back and forth. It's not a saw, so you're just going to file it in that one direction. Let me bring you in close and I'll show you. So here's what my teeth look like before. I'll zoom in a little for you guys. You can see they're not very sharp. They're pretty dull right now. Let's get them filed up. So as I was saying, you only want to work in one direction. Okay, so I'm going to take this file and just work in one direction. Can you see the difference already? How it's taking that old rusted metal off? Now I'm not trying to sharpen this like the blade of a knife. I just need it so that it'll cut through tree roots and things like that. So I'm not looking for a razor sharp edge necessarily. For the most part, that's about as far as you need to go. For this tool specifically, I'm not looking for a razor sharp edge. But since I've got it, I'm going to use this Lansky puck. It's got a more abrasive side here and a smoother side here. And that's going to help take off any burrs. Now, this rake is only meant to be sharpened from one side. It's much like a serrated knife. This side of the blade is the only side that needs to be sharpened. The other side's flat. But I'll use this puck on the other side in a little bit, and I'll show you why. But first, I'm just gonna go in a circular motion and kind of smooth out the edges with this more coarse side, and then I'll flip it over and use this side. You just want to work in a circular motion. You just want to work with the angle of that blade, okay? You don't want to be doing it like this necessarily. You got to work with the angle of the blade. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and use this more smooth side. So as I said, this particular tool is really only meant to be sharpened on that front side. The back side of these teeth, you can tell the difference. They don't have that angle on them. But I'm still going to go ahead and use this Lansky puck because after filing, there's some pretty good burrs right here. You won't be able to see them on camera probably. But I want to file those burrs off just so it has a little smoother edge. So it's not going to take a lot off. Just use this abrasive side and just kind of knock those burrs down a little bit. Now it's a lot smoother, and it'll cut through roots and things without having that resistance of those burrs. Okay, now that I got my teeth all sharpened up, all put back in place like it should be, I'm going to take care of my handle a little bit. It needs a little maintenance on it. I hadn't had any maintenance done on it in several years. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my sanding sponge and just lightly sand my handle to smooth out any rough spots, take off any of that old finish that might keep that boiled linseed oil from soaking into the wood. Okay, I've got all the rough spots sanded off of this handle. I mean, you can already tell the difference in the way it looks. It's just smooth as it can be right now. So here's what I'm going to be treating this handle with. It's a Sunnyside boiled linseed oil. I don't know if you can read that. Sunnyside boiled linseed oil. Now all I'm going to be doing is just taking a soft cloth, just a little rag, just a sleeve off an old t-shirt. Just put a little bit of this oil on there. I'm just going to work it into the handle. I'm going to try to get a little bit on the end of that handle right there because it's kind of dried and cracking a little bit. But like I said earlier, guys, this handle is the original handle from this rake that's probably 10-12 years old now. So I've applied my linseed oil to that handle. I'm going to let it sit for just a few minutes and come back with a dry cloth and take off any excess. And then I'm going to go show you guys what I use this thing for. So I'm out here on my property. I got my council rake all sharpened up, cleaned up, and ready to put back in business. And as you can tell behind me, most of this place is wooded timber, brush, and that's where this thing comes in handy, okay? So this is a wildland firefighter's tool. That's where you'll see it used most. A lot of wildland firefighters use it because of those aggressive teeth, okay? They use it to cut in fire lines for a fire break. You can get in, you know, a regular leaf rake wouldn't clear out a fire line in here because of all the brush and just little stobs and sticks and trees. And this thing is super good at putting in a fire line. Let me show you what I mean by that. So if you're a wildland firefighter and you're trying to keep a fire, put a fire break in, you know, a leaf rake is only going to get so much, but this council rake will really get down into the dirt. And you can quickly pull back, you know, a fire line, and that stops a fire. Now, while this rake is perfect for that scenario, that's not what I use it for, mostly. Here in Oklahoma, we have a really bad infestation with these invasive eastern red cedar trees. And if you look around my property, you won't see a lot of them because I try to take care of them when they're small. And this tool right here is perfect for that. Now you can walk around with limb loppers and lop them all off at the ground, and that works great, don't get me wrong. Chainsaw works good too, but for a little bitty tree the size of your finger, I find this the best tool there is, and I'll show you why. So when I say cedar tree, this is what I'm talking about. These little guys take over everything. And this rake right here, I can come along. That's why I sharpen those teeth up real good. So I can come along and just, see there, I can come along here and just chop those things off the ground. Now this rake works best on small trees like this. To me, it's just faster to walk along in the woods and just one slap and I can knock that thing off at the ground. And there's nothing left. Now obviously this is only gonna work on little small trees that are gonna fit in between those teeth and not tear it up. So anything that's, you know, bigger than your finger, like that first tree, was probably a little bit big, but it still works. You just kind of chop a little bit. That one, the limb loppers would probably be a better idea. But in this timber, those little cedar trees just pop up by the thousands, and I can just walk around the woods and just knock those things out, just take them off at the ground. And it's not good for just cedar trees. I mean, all this underbrush and briars and saplings, just one little hit, one little swing, and you can take it out. So, perfect property maintenance tool for clearing up little saplings and briars and brush in these cedar trees. You just walk along the woods and just knock them out as you go. There's nothing to it. This little tree right here is exactly what I'm talking about. It's only about 18 inches tall, but I can just walk through the woods and it's gone. So the key to maintaining your property and controlling things like these cedar trees, that you may have something that you call a cedar tree that's a little different than this. These are eastern red cedar. They're useless, they're worthless. But you know, when days I don't have anything going on, I'll just take my little rake or some limb loppers and walk around the woods for an hour or two. It's relaxing, nice little stroll in the woods, and knock out a couple hundred little cedar trees. There's not a lot of effort to it. But if you don't take care of it and if you don't maintain your property, it can get out of shape and get away from you in a hurry. And I'll take you and show you a prime example of that. These cedar trees take over. Let me go show you what I'm talking about. So just look around behind me. Look at all those cedar trees. They take over. I mean, once those things get a hold and get big, your only option is to get out there with some sort of heavy equipment or a chainsaw, and it's 10 times more work to remove those cedar trees than when they're this tall, okay? And you can see, can you imagine what that would do? Just think about how much grass is taken up by those cedar trees and how much less grass people are gonna have to graze their cattle and livestock on. Those cedar trees take over. So if you don't maintain them and take control of them when they're small, man, they just ruin everything. Here, look at the other side of my driveway. I'm standing on my driveway, so hope my neighbors don't get mad about me talking about their property. But look at the other side. You can't even walk through that. I mean, it's so thick. You know, these could have been controlled when they were, you know, a foot tall easily. But they're so thick now, you can't even walk through them. That's no good for livestock. It's no good for wild, you know, deer and stuff. Nothing feeds on those things. They're just a nuisance. So, property maintenance 101, I guess. I know it's windy out here, guys. I hope it's not tearing up my video quality too much. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you like this video. A little bit of tool maintenance. It's important. Take care of your tools and they'll last you a long time. These cedar trees, you know, taking care of your property and proper property maintenance to me is a big deal. So anyways, if you like that little rake, that fire rake, I apologize guys, I had to switch cameras. So if you like that council rake, It's a fire rake. It's used by wildland firefighters for all kinds of different purposes. Really good at controlling these little cedar trees when they're small, for sure. If you like that, I'll leave a link below on Amazon. You know, it's an affiliate link. I won't make much money off of it, but they're not real expensive, about $40–50, and it's a tool that'll last you a long time. If you're not familiar, haven't heard of the Homestead Box, I'll leave a card right up here to their channel. Go check them out. They've got some really quality stuff. Looking forward to getting the next box in the mail this month sometime soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you learned something. Try to make it, you know, a little bit educational. Have fun, whatever. So anyways, we'll see you on the next video, and y'all have a great day. Me and Bella are out.